One of Norway's biggest export names, whose credits include Juliette Binoche starrer 1000 Times Goodnight and Golden Bear nominee Utoya. July 22, director Erik Poppe will kick off the Norwegian Film Festival in Haugesund on August 18, with his much-anticipated drama, Quisling, The Final Days, ahead of the film's international premiere at Toronto's special presentations. Although set in Norway during World War II, the film explores today's pressing issue of the rise of right-wing extremism and its threat to democracy. It centers on the last days before his execution on October 24, 1945, of the infamous Nazi collaborator Vidkun Quisling, whose name has become a byword for traitor. As Quisling sits in his dark cell, he receives the visit of the priest Petter Olsen. Their encounters, documented in a diary written by Olsen that served as a key source for the script, turn into a psychological battle between the humanist and the fascist. Delivering tour de force performances are Gard B. Eidsvold, Troll, in order of disappearance, as Quisling and Anders Danielsen lie, the worst person in the world, as the priest, cast alongside Lisa Carlyhead, the emigrants, as Maria Quisling and Lisa Loven Kongsli, force majeure, as the priest's wife Heidi Olsen. Based on a script by Anna Bachwig, Siv Rajendram Eliasson and Rav Lainskog, the film was produced by Poppe's regular partners Finn Gjerdrum and Stein B. Kve of Paradox, SF Studios' Norwegian production banner. The feature and a separate TV version are being sold internationally by Reinvent. Speaking in exclusivity to Variety ahead of the film's world premiere, Poppe discussed his vision, testing, pushing it and upcoming projects, relationship drama Bad Moon Rising, based on a script by Nobel Literary Prize winner John Fosse, and first genre movie, The Scream, inspired by Edvard Munch's celebrated painting. This is your third installment in a trilogy about far-right ideology threatening democracy, after The King's Choice and Utoya, July 22. While the first two films gave the point of view of the victims, here you tackle the subject from a more controversial perspective, the perpetrator, as you try to explore what is behind Quisling's motives and if redemption is ever possible. Why did you want to go that route with this film? Erik Poppe, that's correct. But going back to the very beginning, I started to look into the story of one of the biggest traitors in Europe, back in 2003. Already in the early 2000s in Europe, you could see authoritarian leaders and far-right movements gaining ground. I spent a few years reading, researching, but couldn't find the key to the story. I directed The King's Choice, about the German attack on our democracy in Norway, followed by Utoya, July 22, about the terrorist attack on the young people on Utoya, on July 22, 2011. Then one day I got a diary from a family member of the priest Petter Olsen who was with Vidkun Quisling in his cell in his final days. His family knew I was researching his life. Suddenly I realized this is the key to the story. Not who Quisling was during the war, neither who he was as a young man. I had to focus on those few days when he was arrested until his death sentence and execution. His fight to survive, to save his reputation, to explain his actions. The diary offers an exclusive inside look of his mindset. The core of the story is therefore the battle between the humanist Olsen and the fascist Quisling. A priest is not allowed to disclose a confession. What exactly was in the diary? The diary included notes that the priest made during his meetings with Quisling. He was a priest working in a hospital for people with mental health issues and was used to dealing with complex personalities. When he was asked to become a spiritual advisor for Quisling in his final days, he was initially afraid he would fail in his task. He made small notes, after every meeting, that showed in a complicated way what was going on. He didn't really want anyone else to understand his notes, so he wrote in a rather cryptic way, to the point where no one could really understand them when the diary was uncovered years back. I took the diary to a theology department of the University of Oslo. They said, "Oh, it's not complicated. This is what he says, and these are Quisling's reactions." I took the diary to historians who authenticated it. I was then convinced with my producers that this was an exclusive look into Quisling's mindset, and we went ahead with the movie. What was also interesting to explore was the priest's struggle with his own beliefs.